Canada is facing a decision that quietly challenges decades of military dependence. On the surface, it looks like a standard fighter jet purchase. But beneath it lies something much bigger. Power, control, and the future of how allied nations defend themselves. For years, Canada has been locked in a slow, controversial process to replace its aging fighter fleet. Billions of dollars. Endless debates. Political pressure from all sides. The F-35 was positioned as the inevitable choice, advanced, stealthy, already used by allies. But inevitability doesn't always mean suitability. Canada isn't like most countries. Its airspace stretches across an entire continent, from the Atlantic to the Pacific. From dense cities to some of the harshest Arctic environments on Earth, temperatures plunge below -40. Air bases are separated by vast distances. Infrastructure is limited. Reaction time matters. Any aircraft defending this territory must start reliably in extreme cold, fly long distances without constant support, and remain operational with minimal maintenance crews. This isn't optional. It's survival-level requirements. And that's where doubts about the F-35 started to grow. Not publicly at first, quietly, inside defense circles. Among analysts, among pilots. The aircraft promised cutting-edge capability, but it also came with complexity, high operating costs, specialized maintenance, long turnaround times, global supply chains that don't care how urgent a northern interception might be. Reports from Allied operators suggested readiness rates far below what Canada would ideally want. Not because the aircraft was broken, but because it was demanding. Software-heavy, logistically intensive, designed around centralized control. For a country responsible for massive, remote airspace that raised uncomfortable questions, then there was sovereignty. Buying the F-35 doesn't just mean buying jets. It means accepting strict rules on software updates, maintenance procedures, and upgrades. Everything flows through systems controlled outside Canada. Timelines set elsewhere. Permissions required. Decisions delayed. In calm times, that's manageable. In crisis, it becomes a risk. That's when attention slowly turned to an aircraft few expected to challenge America's flagship program, Sweden's Gripen E. At first, it seemed unlikely. Smaller, less hyped, not marketed as revolutionary. But when analysts looked closer, something stood out. The Gripen wasn't built for prestige. It was built for survival, designed to operate in harsh northern climates, capable of taking off from short runways and even highways. Turnaround times measured in minutes, not hours. Maintenance crews small enough to deploy anywhere. Operating costs among the lowest of modern fighters. For Canada, those weren't just advantages. They were solutions. The Gripen could fly long distances efficiently. It could stay ready with minimal infrastructure. It could operate in cold weather without extensive preparation. And it integrated cleanly with NATO systems. On paper, it checked nearly every box. But there was one problem. A major one. The engine. At the heart of the Gripen E sits the General Electric F-414. Engine, American-made, reliable, proven, but politically complicated. What does that mean? It means Washington controls export rights, maintenance permissions, technology transfers, any resale, any modification, any upgrade path. So even if Canada chose a non-American aircraft, the engine ensured America still held veto power. An aircraft that isn't American, but still controlled by America, doesn't solve the sovereignty problem. It simply disguises it, and that's where everything changed. Rolls-Royce entered the conversation. Not loudly, not officially, but significantly. Rolls-Royce isn't new to military aviation. They've powered fighter jets, trainers, and long-term NATO projects for decades. But what makes their involvement different isn't just technical ability. It's geopolitical positioning. A Gripen, powered by a Rolls-Royce engine, removes American export control from the equation entirely. No Pentagon approval for upgrades. No external veto over maintenance decisions. No political leverage hidden inside a supply chain. For Canada, that changes everything. Suddenly, the Gripen becomes a truly sovereign fighter, fully NATO-compatible, but no longer dependent on Washington's permission. And the benefits don't stop there. Rolls-Royce has extensive experience with engines operating in extreme cold. Civilian aviation in polar regions, military cooperation with northern NATO states. Their systems are designed to start, run, and endure in environments where others struggle. For Canada's Arctic missions, that's not marketing. That's operational reality. Then comes industrial cooperation. Unlike the F-35 program, which tightly controls production and maintenance through Lockheed Martin, a Gripen Rolls-Royce partnership opens doors. Engine assembly inside Canada. Domestic maintenance centers, technology transfer, training Canadian engineers and technicians. Instead of sending billions overseas, Canada builds capability at home. And when you compare numbers, the contrast becomes impossible to ignore. The Gripen's operating cost is estimated around $8,000 per flight hour. The F-35 ranges anywhere from $35,000 to nearly $50,000. Turnaround time for the Gripen can be as short as 10 minutes. The F-35 often requires hours and specialized crews. Readiness rates tell an even clearer story. According to reports from Sweden and Brazil, Gripen fleets maintain availability levels as high as 80 to 90%. The F-35, by comparison, often struggles to exceed 50. In a country where response time matters more than stealth optics, availability wins. But this story isn't just about performance. It's about control. For decades, the United States has maintained influence through dependence, engines, software, supply chains. The F-35 represents the peak of that strategy. A Gripen with a Rolls-Royce engine threatens that model. If Canada chooses this path, it won't be alone. Other nations are watching closely. Every F-35 contract lost is not just money, it's lost leverage. Canada now stands at a crossroads. One path maintains the status quo, the other quietly reshapes it. And once one country proves it can defend itself without permission, others will follow. That may be the most disruptive shift in global defense aviation yet.